What's up, YouTube? Back with another Friday commentary. And in the last one, I talked about practice and how 2K's practice mode are outdated and need a revamp. But today, we're going to get into the on versus off ball defense debate. This has been a hot topic in 2K for a few years now. So I definitely want to hear y'all's opinions in the comment section. So with that being said, let's get into it. So I think a good place to start is to define on and off ball, because I feel like with a lot of debates and arguments, not just about 2K, but just literally anything, they start because we define things differently. And it makes the things a lot easier when you have a set definition to go off of. So for me, I define off ball as not guarding the ball handler for an extended period of time. Extended period of time meaning an entire possession or just the majority of a possession. And on ball is guarding the ball handler for most of the possession. And when it comes to like switching players, so like if you switch off to your center to make sure he hedges properly in pick and roll situations, or you switch off to one of your wing players to pinch or blitz a ball handler, or just like maybe bait a lane, or to switch a matchup and then go back on the ball, like I don't really consider that off ball. Like if you're, switching back and forth between guarding the ball, then 1 second you're on somebody else and then you go back to guarding the ball, that's not really off balling to me. Because in order to play the best defense possible, you do have to switch players and make sure that you keep everybody in position. And y'all know me, if you've seen my videos, I'm team on ball. I always guard the ball handler. Just because I feel like if you off balling, like, are you even playing the game? Like me personally, I get on the game to play the game, both offense and defense. Like I didn't get on to play offense and then let the computer play defense for me. Like I got on the game to play the game. And plus, I feel like most people I play against don't dribble so crazy to the point where I can't stay in front of them. And I do play a lot of park. So when you want to park, you can't off ball. Like you got to communicate with your teammates, and you better put some defense on that build, or else you're going to get cooked by a lot of these cheesy dribble guards out here. So I done seen all the cheesy dribble moves. I done a lot of cheesy dribble. I'm not like no super top tier dribble guard, but I got a little cook up on me, you feel me? So I kind of know what to do when guarding it. And even on the park, like it's not every single game you playing against some super elite dribble guard. Like yeah, you're going to run into them, every now and then, but like the way people talk is just like, it seems like they going against some super elite dribbler every single game, which is not the case. Unless you're playing in some high tier competitive games in basically any mode, which 95% of people aren't. And then you got people that will say, well, the latency and the sliding on defense is so bad that, you can't stay in front of people. You have to off ball, which I mean, there is latency and sliding involved. But again, to me personally, it was never at a point where it was so much that I couldn't stay in front of a ball handler. And I just think a lot of people be capping and they just use that as an excuse because it sounds good. But in reality, they just can't stay in front of nobody. And sometimes they be making a lot of mistakes while playing on ball defense, like overreacting to every single move that somebody does. And if you overreact and try to follow someone's every movement, that's a good way to get burned. Because if you're constantly reacting and trying to follow somebody's every move, you're always going to be behind. So you have to get a feel for your opponent's tendencies and see what moves they like to do and where they like to go and anticipate the next move, which is something that a lot of people don't do. And also a lot of people are very undisciplined, whether it's consistently reaching, consistently jumping, and just basically throwing themselves out of position. And then they get mad at 2K. Like, nah, bro, that's you. And you also got people that say they're off ball so that they control everybody else and bait lanes and get steals and force turnovers. And some people are actually really good at doing that. But again, not everybody that says that is really like that. And y'all be capping. Y'all don't be getting Stevies and creating chaos on defense. Y'all off balling because y'all can't guard nobody. And then you get to zones and just other gray areas. Like, do you consider zone to be off ball? Because you kind of are guarding the ball handler, but then again, you're kind of not. You're more so guarding an area. But a lot of times the ball just so happens to be in that area, so you're kind of guarding the ball. I don't know. Me personally, I don't really care for zones. I don't really like them just because I feel like the game doesn't handle it well, and it kind of doesn't serve the purpose that it was supposed to serve, because zones were created for teams that don't have really good defensive personnel and they may be prone to good slashers or dominant bigs. Or maybe they try to hide a couple players so that they don't get exposed defensively. And it's the type of defense that you use in spurts to, maybe throw a team off their rhythm, or maybe slow the game down, make them think a little bit, just to give them a different look. But it was never a defense that you can play full time, because the zone is literally Swiss cheese, and good ball movement, player movement, as well as shooters could easily break a zone. But on 2K, you can run a zone full time as your main defense and be perfectly fine, just because of how the game is. Like, I've always felt the player models were too big for the court, and one player can really cover a lot of ground, especially if they're really tall. But even if just like average height, they cover a lot of ground and make rotations that they're kind of not really supposed to make. Plus, passing lane steals are pretty strong this year, so you're kind of discouraged from passing the ball too much, which is something that can really break a zone. Like, really good ball movement and player movement can break a zone, but you're kind of discouraged from passing too much on the game, so you can't really pass too much. Plus, the offensive AI, they don't adapt too well neither. Like, you do have freelances and things that you can use to get, some spacing and movement that you need to break a zone, but like I said, they don't adapt too well and get into the gaps of the zone and really break it as they should. They just gonna follow the freelance that you set them to follow, but don't really adapt too much from it. And then people that play zone will try to be like, oh, playing zone is hard, if not harder than playing man, because you consistently have to click off and switch players to keep everybody in position. And it's like, no matter what defense you play on this game, you're gonna have to click off at some point and keep people in position, man or zone. So I don't know where the argument is at there. Plus, in the zone, your players are gonna be in the same spot every single time, so switching is a lot easier when you know where the player is at all times. Whereas in man, the player you need to switch to can literally be anywhere on the court, so like, you really got to pay attention. And they also say like they use the zone to, bait lanes and get a lot of steals and stuff. And there's people that are actually really good at that. Like, they know how to use the zone to bait lanes and get a lot of steals, but everybody that plays zone don't be doing that. So again, stop capping. You playing zone because you can't guard. And every year I'm starting to see more and more zones in play now, and especially in the rec. Like, in the rec, you could forget about it. Like, these last couple months, like 70% of my rec games I've been playing against 2-3 zones. Like, zone is really taking over the rec right now, and it's actually getting really annoying. And also, at what point do you consider off-balling and zones to be cheese, and at what point do you consider it strategy? Because a lot of times I can see the strategy behind it. There's been times where I've had like a dominant inside presence. Like, recently I was playing with the 95 Magic. I get the ball in a Shaq 2 times, get 2 dunks, and then they go into the zone. At that point, I can see the strategy behind that. Like, all right, I'm not going to let Shaq just dunk on me the whole game. Let's go into the zone and see how this could work. Or there's been times where somebody would be on balling me and I just ISO'd him up. I hit him with a double momentum into a 3. Boom. Next play, come down, I hit him with a crossover snatch back behind the back into a fade or something. And then at that point, they just start off-balling me because they're like, yeah, I can't guard him. So like, at what point do you consider like zones and off-ball to be strategy or just cheese? Because I feel like if you making adjustments and, you adjust to play the zone or to off-ball, it's like, I get it, I guess. But then like, when the ball is tipped off and you just go straight into the zone, or you just go straight on the center and never guard me, it's like, all right, bro, like, what are we really doing here now? So that's pretty much my thoughts on the whole off-ball and zone thing. I used to really hate off-ball, but now it's like, I don't really care no more. It's more so of a minor inconvenience. But I've made, videos and tutorials going over things that you can do to combat off-ball and zones. So like I said, I don't be really caring no more. I just be mocking them now. And I doubt 2K is going to do anything about it. I feel like off-ball is here to stay, just because like 2K isn't a game no more. Like, it's a business and they trying to make money. So how you make money? You get as many people on a game. How you keep them on a game? You make everybody feel like that they're good and that they can win. And I feel like 2K, they have to know that a lot of people off ball, and they have to know that this is a lot of people's best chance at winning. So if they take that away, there's a lot of people that ain't gonna be winning, which means that's money that they could potentially be losing out on. So they're not gonna do that. So that's why I feel like off ball is here to stay, because again, I feel like they have to know that a lot of people do this and that this is a lot of people's best chance at winning. But as always, let me know how y'all feel in the comments. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more content.